avoid legal snags by telling people that they're being recorded. You're being recorded, Angelica.
Thank you for telling me. I accept.
Thank you for accepting.
Welcome to the ramblings of Angelica and Gemma,
where we're going to talk about Killing Eve, episode 5 of season 3, and what we think about it, because our word is God.
Wow.
Yeah, she just walked in. I was like, wow, she's just walking into this house, but then no one's paying much attention.
When has she ever knocked the door?
True. Also, we don't know like how old she was though when she was left though. That's the thing. So it's
but she was old enough to remember her brother, her mum, her dad, to know that she was left somewhere. So she must have been like primary school age.
And I guess like that's why she knew where she lived. That was still her house, like from when she was young.
Because she walked in like it's her home, but was treated like a stranger.
Well, because the first people who saw her was her half brother who'd never met her before.
And all these bunch of people who are connected to her mum, but not her.
The thing that struck me in that beginning part was just how quiet it was. Like it was just, there was no background music. It was just her looking at all the stuff around the house, looking at those photos. Because then when you think about the rest of the episode, there's just so much music and so much singing and dancing, but that whole first part was just silent almost.
It was so eerie.
It was.
And I wonder, it's because, you know, when there is music in the background, it almost is a direction of how you should be feeling in that moment.
True.
And when there isn't any, it's because we kind of sat with Villanelle with, I don't know how to feel right now. Because I think of like movies and stuff with like really amazing scores, like Jaws. As soon as you hear that tune, you know, you get that sense of impending doom.
The music is obvious. Scores are meant to set the scene and to direct you in how you're supposed to feel.
But that, I think, hit a raw nerve with me is when she was like, who's that outside? And her half brother was like, oh, it's mum. And then she goes into this mad frenzy panic.
The thing that I've noticed she's really good at is those micro changes in her face. She's got such a good expressive face. Like the moment that her mum was mentioned, you could just see some switch, but it's very like minute. It's not like she was like,
yeah. It was just that sudden realization, like, oh my God, I'm actually doing this.
And then you knew that something was up. Like it's not normal to have such a negative reaction to one's mother.
No, that's a traumatized child's reaction, that hypervigilance, always watching the door, always checking to see something was up. So you could tell that there is trauma that's happened to her.
It's so cool that all it took was one look to know that a little bit of what their history is without them saying what their relationship was like.
Because how uncomfortable was Villanelle when her mum came up to her crying and kissing her, and then she was just like, okay.
Was it? So it was her little brother who came first, and he was like in Russian, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Did he say what he was saying? It was like, who are you? And then she started speaking English.
She the whole time she refused to speak Russian,
which we know she doesn't like to do.
Which also Eve doesn't like to speak her mother tongue either.
I was wondering why did he ask her, are you from Pinner? Is it because, is that where Elton John is from? Is that
sure. Let's find out.
It has to be
because he said Pinner and then Watford.
It has to, because Elton John, he owned part of Watford Football Club at one point. Did he ask that just because she spoke English, so he thought, oh, she must be in England, or did she mention that she came from London? Did I miss that?
I missed that too. Did she even say?
I don't think so. Is it just
because... Yeah, he was born in Pinner.
Oh, there you go. That's that was the name of the episode as well. Are you from Pinner?
I just thought that was so random, but okay, that makes sense. I was like, how does this kid know Pinner?
He's obsessed with Elton John, so of course he'd know where he was born.
But she never actually said where she came from, right?
No. So
they
maybe
assumed
that just because she was speaking English, that she must have come from England. That's a big assumption, but I guess he's a child who's maybe he doesn't know.
The rest of the adults just took up on it. Why would you come from England to Gizmet?
Well, that's very true.
But then nobody was really listening. Everyone was just talking over each other.
Also very true.
So she meets the stepbrother who thinks that his dad has rented his room out on Airbnb and is essentially being kicked out.
Then his girlfriend comes in and she thinks that Villanelle's there for him. And then her actual brother comes in and he recognizes her. Is he her younger brother then? Because they don't look that much different in age.
He is, because she asks him in the barn, do you remember Dad? And he doesn't really. So he must have been quite a lot younger.
Despite looking
the same
slightly older.
I mean, Russia just doesn't age well.
No, he clearly did not, no. Poor man. This is what you get when you live in a barn, when you sleep in a barn, isn't it? He's not getting that sunlight.
Gosh, it was just so much to process, really, in that whole episode. There was so much history that we were privy to that it's been shielded up until now.
Well, she's clearly not fond of talking about it. But what do you think it was in particular that made her want to all of a sudden go to that place again?
I don't know. Like, it
can't be just seeing a baby. Like,
yeah, because that's the way it was explained to us. It was triggered by this bit. Well, it wasn't the baby itself.
For a baby, yeah. Someone it was to risk their life for a baby.
The unconditional love somebody has for a baby.
Yeah, because she's not.
That baby didn't belong to the nanny. And maybe that just fascinated her and got her thinking.
Well, yeah, I think many people have said it's because she hasn't experienced it herself, so she wants to see what it's like, to understand why she didn't experience it, or if it made her why she is the way she is.
Do you think she's thinking that deeply about it?
Yes. Because when you think about what she wants, she's mentioned it a few times. Like, anytime she'll see Constantine, all she wants to do is hang out. She wants to watch movies with him. When Eve was like, what do you want? What do you want? And she was like, cool flat, someone to watch movies with. She wants mundane, normal things that she's not experienced before.
I know that her explanation to herself was for the hiccups. Because as soon as he handed her the envelope, she got the hiccups. And the hiccups stopped when she got off the train because she touched her chest with her turtleneck. And then her hiccups stopped. But you had an interesting theory about hiccups.
I did not. I stole it from my friend who basically said that seeing as a common remedy for hiccups is to scare them out of someone, which in the episode prior, that woman was trying to scare Villanelle to get rid of them. The hiccups didn't go away when that woman tried to scare her because she wasn't actually scared. But when Villanelle turned up at the train station, when she was going home, she touched her neck. I'm assuming to symbolize that her hiccups are gone. This is perhaps because she's scared, genuinely scared of what she'll find. Which I love that so much, because she is in uncharted territory despite being in her motherland. She's in a place she doesn't want to be, but she wants to be. Again, and that sort of ties into how she was feeling in the beginning of the episode and sort of towards that first part of the episode when we get to the sort of dinner party bit. How obvious her discomfort was at being surrounded by a joyful family, or what seems to be a joyful family dinner.
I really felt for her at this moment because I guess the episode in itself is to show Villanelle's ultimate rejection, which is from her mum.
Yeah.
That is the first and most painful rejection a child can go through. And she does say, I know she says that she didn't mind that she was left. She didn't mind that they didn't come for her. What she minded is that rejection of who she is, the essence of her, which is the same as her mum.
Yeah, she is her mother's daughter.
And to see her in this family that her mum's managed to make up without her is just where is her place? Her place is sometimes with or without Eve. It's not in the 12. It's not with Constantine. She can't manage on her own. So where does she belong?
Do you think as well that her relationship with Constantine is one of the reasons why she wanted to look for her family? Because at the end of season 2, he mentions her family and she's like, oh, mine are dead. And then he's like, not all of them. That was sort of the first part of her sort of clicking. But then it's also at the end of season 1 when she asked Constantine, would you choose me or your family? And he's like, I choose my family, like, obviously.
Maybe she just wanted someone to say that about her.
And I think she's trying to find that with Eve.
Which she has done to some
degree. True, yeah. I think that's
she did leave Hugo shop to go and find her.
Oh my god. Gentleman is a very common word, Eve.
And she has just left Nico to go find Villanelle. She's put Nico in a very difficult spot.
Villanelle didn't say anything about Eve this episode.
No.
There was no little nod, no little comment, no inkling that she was thinking about her. Like there was no essence of nothing of Eve in this episode, which I thought was really interesting considering how obsessed Villanelle is with her. But at this point she was just completely focused on what it was she was looking to find. And
well, I just had a thought about the hiccups, right?
Oh, here we go.
So, you know, up until till she had hiccups, she was, like you said, totally obsessed with Eve. That was her main goal, her main focus. That's what she wanted to play around with. That's her cat and mouse game. And then Constantine drops that he actually knows that some of her family is alive. And then the hiccups start. And it's almost like, where does her obsession go right now? Is it with Eve or is it with her family? And hence the disruption in her internal self on which way should she lean.
She clearly can't do both.
No. And I wonder, going to and seeing her family and experiencing that, did she go with the intention of killing it off just so that she can just be with Eve?
See, I've got like my own theory on Villanelle and her mum, and even like her little brother, how linked they are with how obsessed they get with people. Obviously with the brother it's with Elton John, but we've also sort of seen how he reacts badly, like him and the brother, they both have very violent tendencies. And then the mum, you could say, was obsessed with Villanelle's dad, because the moment that Villanelle or Oksana had that kind of hold, that control over the dad, the mum couldn't take it, so she left her at a fucking orphanage. So I was like, in my head, it's that whenever these people don't get what they want with their obsession, they want to kill it. Like when Eve told Villanelle that she didn't love her or that it wasn't love, Villanelle didn't get what she wanted, she shot her. And then when Villanelle's mum wasn't getting the attention from the dad, she essentially killed her daughter's childhood by leaving her in an orphanage.
Well, do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when you see mum and baby attachments in the beginning, they are fully in tune and enmeshed with each other. They're completely synchronized. And in order for that relationship to grow and develop, there's always a third person that needs to separate the two.
Right.
And that's usually the father, to help separate mum and baby so that baby starts to understand their sense of self. And in all these relationships in this show, there is no third space. There is no space to think. And that's what the third space is, the space to think and the space to contain and regurgitate certain feelings and emotion and give it back in a meaningful way. So that relationship, it wasn't between Villanelle and mum, it was Villanelle and dad. And mum couldn't handle being the third space. She wanted to be enmeshed with somebody.
Yeah.
And she didn't want her daughter. And with Villanelle and Eve, they are totally like enmeshed with each other to the point it's unhealthy. There are no healthy boundaries in their relationship. And Nico tried to be the third and he was killed off. So it's almost that third space, that thinking space gets killed off. And you have to wonder, when things are enmeshed so much within each other, do they in essence kill each other off? Will Villanelle and Eve kill one or the other off?
I think ultimately that's how it will end, with those two dying together, whether it be tragic or romantic, however you look at it. But it's interesting as well, because then that's all well and true, but it wasn't actually Villanelle who killed Nico, but she did want him out, but she still has the sort of frame of mind to know that if she does it, then it will put her relationship with Eve at risk. So in that respect as well, she's I wouldn't say better than her mum, but she's more aware than her mum, maybe.
She's more aware. I think to an extent, Eve understands that her actions have consequences to the people around her. And she knew that Nico was in danger, but still didn't put the things in place to protect him.
Well, yeah, because first season, she didn't want protection. No. When they offered it to her, she still said no. She wasn't.
Didn't even tell him.
The only time they had it was when they just turned up and he was like, Eve, do you want to tell me something? And there's that guy sitting in their house. Oh, God, it's just so many layers. Oh, my God.
Very, very psychoanalytic.
Yeah, it's not like when you think about the mum, how, like, she's clearly not mother material, the way that she sort of issues with, when the elder brother, well, not the elder brother, but her younger brother, but the eldest brother, you know, he's taken out his anger on that. I don't know what that was. What was he hitting?
I thought it was a sofa.
The younger brother hitting his head against the wall and hitting himself. And
it's all a projection of, I think, mother's hate, her own self-hate. I wonder, this is such a long shot, the fact that she couldn't bond with Villanelle because Villanelle was so different.
Yeah. Oh,
you know, it does things to a mum to not bond with your child. You'd think there's something wrong with you, and then you hate yourself for that, and then you hate your child for that because they made you feel like that.
I mean, especially if at the time the mum was calling her difficult, or like the amount of times she said you have a darkness in you, you have a dark, like, can you imagine being young and being told all of those things?
What, can you imagine having a child and being scared of your own baby? Because it reminded me of We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Oh, good Lord.
And you know that whole relationship that mum has with her baby, again, totally enmeshed with each other. There was no third space to help them separate. And it was toxic and unforgiving. But there was a lot of hatred, like self-hate in that as well. I just wondered that the way the mum spoke to that little boy, saying that he embarrassed her, you know, he should be ashamed of himself. And I wonder if that's her own voice telling herself that from the beginning.
Oh, for sure. It has to be. I think most times when you're speaking to anyone in that kind of manner, it usually is a projection.
And especially speaking to a child, it's almost like you're speaking to your own inner child. That was brutal.
So sad. The thing is, it's like it's very subtle, like her abuse, but it's
insidious.
It's created such a visceral and such a like big reaction of what's happening with her kids. Like, who knows what that little boy might. Well, he's probably better now. Well, I don't say better now that his mum got deaded, but she could have potentially saved both of them from many, many years of psychological harm that could have forced them to go in the same direction as Villanelle.
All you have to do is see her attachment with each of her children. Villanelle, there isn't any. With her other son, it was really disorganized, where he felt like he had to be there to look after her.
Yeah, like out of duty.
And then with the youngest, it was this internal hatred for himself. Like everything was his fault.
There has to be some significance to him liking Elton John. Could it be just like his flamboyance? Obviously his music. Maybe it's a kind of it's the openness that maybe he wants but can't have living there.
Maybe it just means freedom.
Yeah, because then he wants to leave to go to the concert, but he can't because he didn't get the money, and that's sort of representative of his life there. Like, he's just stuck there, like all of them.
Yeah. And Villanelle was the only one that got out, and the only way she got out is because she died.
I liked when they were talking about the orphanage, and she was like, they made it sound worse than it was. It was like only 2 floors. Like, she burned down only 2 floors.
It wasn't that big.
I did like, though, that Villanelle recognizes obviously the similarities between her and her mum. Like, she voiced it when she was talking about, like, you laugh at things that aren't funny, and then they constantly showed Villanelle laughing at random things. It was very self-aware of Villanelle. Like, she knew, especially obviously that conversation at the end with her mum, she knew it was coming, but it was just so brutal.
And they didn't even show how she did it, how she ended up on the carpet.
Oh,
it was just so personal to Villanelle that we weren't privy to that.
Oh God, that bit where she just the thing, it's just all those sort of there's a word. It's like micro
expressions.
Like the moment she realized she has to kill her, you just see it. And I was just like, oh, it was so good. She's just like, I have to kill you, Mama. I was like, oh god, oh my god. But like how she's able to like switch like that, so good.
A part of me wondered, you know how intent Villanelle was for her mum to agree that the darkness is in her as well. I wonder if her killing off her mum was in essence trying to say she wanted to kill off the origin of the darkness.
Maybe.
In order for her to be with Eve.
Oof.
Because there was this felt like a mission, her going to Russia.
Oh yeah, it definitely was, because that's how all the episode starts. When she goes to kill someone, it always starts with she's in a country, she's going off to kill someone.
And this felt like such a personal mission and vendetta that she had to get over this obstacle to get to Eve. But this was not about Eve. This was just about her.
This was not about Eve at all, in the slightest.
And how painful was it when she was sitting in her mum's jumpsuit on the train?
Oh god, that bit on the train, she's dancing to the music playing, and it's just like this really sort of upbeat song, but her face is just so sad.
What she's listening to, we can't hear it.
Isn't it? But she's like dancing.
She's dancing, but we don't actually know what she's listening to, which I think reflects the fact we don't know what's going on in Villanelle's mind.
I don't know if it was on purpose, but there's a bit where she looks directly at the camera.
Is there?
Yeah, like it's very quick, but she's dancing. She sort of looks and looks away. I don't know if it was on purpose or if it was just it was caught by accident, but it was really chilling because it's like she was looking at me.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
She looks right at the camera.
I remember watching a video at uni about depressed mothers and how they find it difficult making eye contact with their babies, but it's because postnatally depressed mums have a blank expression and babies need that visual feedback in order to engage. But there was this one striking moment, I remember a video I watched where the mum was holding the baby and the baby was just kind of like all over the place, not looking at the mum, and the mum was trying to catch the baby's eyeline, and then the doctor was like, no, you stay still, let the baby come to you. And then there was just a few moments of this baby like going a bit crazy, and then suddenly it was like, oh, okay, I think. And then they lock eyes, and it was in that moment when they locked eyes, and I think I was about to cry. It was so stunning, and it was so visceral. And I wonder, is that what they meant to do with that locking eyes of the camera? Because whenever her mum and Villanelle actually locked eyes, it was quite dangerous.
Yeah. Oh god, that just reminds me of when she turns around, she has like the stuff on her eyes, and she's like, "Will you wipe off for me?" And she's like, "You're a grown up, or you're not like a child." And she's like, "I want you to treat me like a child." I mean, that's obviously a very her verbalizing what is obviously
she wanted.
But it's just,
I felt that yearning from Villanelle to be taken care of.
Oh, that's just.
Because if you imagine, she was taken from that orphanage as a child. She was never actually taken care of. She had to take care of herself.
She was conditioned to act a certain way, and
she probably never felt cared for until Eve came along.
I think she gets glimpses of it from Constantine, but then it always switches to an ulterior motive with him that she knows.
Constantine's love is always conditional.
And it always comes at a price. Anytime he asks her for a favor, even she always knows it's coming, but you need to do something for me.
Whereas with Eve, they had this instant connection and there was no strings attached. And I wonder if maybe that set the kind of cogs in motion of what unconditional love is, and which led to essentially wondering what she was like as a baby and having unconditional love from a mum, which she never got. I mean, as brutal as the episode was, I'm really glad she didn't kill the little boy and her brother.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think maybe season 1 she would have, but so much has happened since then.
Is Villanelle growing?
Character. I mean, they're obviously doing it on purpose. They could have kept her as just being this sort of psychopath who has no feelings or who's just a stone cold killer, but it could also be because it's Jodie Comer and like she's such a good actor that they want her to be able to use all of her expression.
But I wonder, I'll admit, I don't know that much about psychopaths.
No, neither do I, funnily enough.
No, but it's not that psychopaths are unemotional. I think that they have emotions, they just don't have empathy. So it would make sense that she would learn, but would she grow in a more narcissistic way? Or I don't know.
That growing, I guess, makes sense when you think back of that episode when she's in the Netherlands and she realizes that Eve isn't coming to see her, and she freaks out and she gets drunk, and then the next morning she looks in the mirror and she starts crying. It's like she smiles because it's almost as if it's the first time that she's gotten to maybe that emotional place.
And that was quite important for Villanelle to tell her mum she did cry as a baby.
Oh, yeah.
She does cry.
Yeah, she said when you were born you didn't cry.
Because maybe Villanelle remembers crying a lot.
I mean, how can you not when you've just been deserted by your parent at an orphanage? How much were we told about her family before? Just that they were dead? Did we think they were all dead?
Yeah, we thought they were all dead. And we know that she was found at an orphanage.
Okay.
That was it. It's only like recently Constantine decided to tell her.
See, this is the thing. Why did he?
I don't know, because we never know Constantine's agenda.
This is my issue with Constantine.
What is his ultimate plan?
I guess that's the point, is that we're not supposed to know who he's working for because he's working for everyone. But I just want to know what his plan is. Is he just playing the game and hoping he just survives? It's just like Game of Thrones. He just wants to...
Or is his daughter right and he's just playing for himself?
I don't think he's surviving this season.
No, I don't either. He's too panic-stricken and he's kind of acting quite desperately.
Yeah, I think it will end with Eve and Villanelle with no one left but each other. But that's going too far ahead.
Well, in essence, what's happened is that Eve and Villanelle have both had very serious, intense deaths of primary attachments.
Let's not forget Bill.
Oh.
That's what started the chase almost with her. Rip, Bill, rip. What else happened in the episode? It was small.
How amazing was it to see Villanelle all childlike and happy at the fair?
Oh, the fair, her dung throwing.
Yes.
Oh my god, I laughed so hard when the girlfriend of her stepbrother came with those two friends of hers, and she was like, "Is this your dance troupe?" And I laughed, but they took it so seriously, and I was like, "Oh god!" What else? What made her friend laugh? I can't remember.
Because they call all around. She's like, "Because you get around."
Oh yeah, it was just so funny. Oh god.
Oh dear.
So good. That whole sequence was very surreal to me, to see her like that.
How interesting was the way Villanelle dressed this whole episode?
Oh gosh.
I thought she dressed so English.
Is that why they all assumed she was from England?
Yeah, but she went with that, that whole preppy look with the brogues and the plaid trousers.
That outfit in the barn where she was wearing like the bomber jacket and those massive trainers.
I was like, this is very British. Is this she's trying to emulate that she's from Britain?
Maybe she wanted to highlight that she's not really belonging there until she gets to the fair.
She didn't fit in there because their style was like dated from like
very old world, almost like.
But it also felt like we went back in time. With the bejeweled trousers and...
I mean, yeah, her mum physically took her back when she gave her that 80s jumpsuit of hers. Oh, but then I was interested in the conversation that she had with the new husband. When I can't remember what happened in that part, but I just remember it being very...
Well, she asked him what he knew about her.
Oh, yeah.
Because she wanted to find out what her mum's been telling people.
Oh my god, his answers were so rehearsed.
He knows everything. She must have told him.
You would hope so. Yeah, he knows that she left her, but knowing the mum, she probably was like, she was a troubled child. She was awful, la 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 la. She probably obviously painted Villanelle in like a very bad light, and
And the thing is, that might be her truth, that Villanelle was a scary child.
Yeah.
Worried for her and her husband's life.
And her young son.
Mm.
Was the mum dead already before the fire? Or was she just knocked out, do you reckon?
I didn't see any blood on the carpet.
Neither did I. She saved her 2 brothers, but the others were fair game. Like the stepdad, the stepbrother, the girlfriend. She's like, oh, I don't like them. They're not my family.
I wonder where Villanelle in the moment, they were watching TV and they said that the earth was flat.
Yeah.
At that moment, she thought, do you know what? These guys are just not worth living.
The earth is flat and that they filmed it in Hollywood. Good. Where does Villanelle go from here?
I think at this moment she'll probably want to go and find Eve and get some comfort. And Eve will not be happy.
Have you seen any promos for the next episode?
I haven't, no. Have you?
I have, yeah.
And?
It looks like Detective Eve is back. She's trying to figure out what's happened. But it doesn't give an inkling on... Well, there is a little scene where she's looking at the board of clues and it has the note. And she says, this can't be because of the bus.
Do you think Eve will work out that it wasn't actually Villanelle that did this?
Yes, because in the promos, she's meeting up with Dasha, or finds Dasha. Where she's asking Carolyn, I want to know about Dasha, blah, blah, blah.
Because she was leading there when she started asking about the killings back in the day with the powder and the chalk.
Yes. Yeah. So she knows she exists.
Okay.
And it won't take long for her to deduce that she's working with Villanelle if Villanelle's copying her kill.
Yeah.
Like, despite all of Eve's flaws, she is quite smart. She does have her moments where she figures things out.
I mean, she's worked in MI6 for a while, so...
I have a spoiler, but I don't know if I should tell you, but it's their fault because they've released a photo, like a promo photo. Do you want to see what it is?
Yes.
All right, hang on. Let me see if I could screen share it. I just have to find it. Bear with me. Talk while I find it, if you wish.
I really hope her little brother goes to see Elton John.
The thing is, how much money did she actually give? I'm curious.
Well, she left it in their own currency, right?
What?
Because it was like 500 notes, and we don't have 500 bills.
Yeah, like, was it a lot, or
it seemed like a lot,
or is it not a lot?
Well, what's the...
Yeah, what's their currency in Russia? Oh, I don't know. I'll find out. Hang on. I want you to... You find out. I'm looking for this photo.
Russian ruble.
Oh.
So what's 500...
Ruble.
Russian ruble to pound. What? 500 Russian rubles, £5?
Oh, so wait, so how many?
Well, it looked like a lot, but then it would be in the hundreds then she left them.
Okay.
I was thinking of like £50 notes or something.
Yeah. I don't.
Nothing. I mean, it was chunky, that envelope.
It was, but like, they have no house now, so...
And not only do they need to buy the Elton John tickets, they need to get a flight and a place to stay.
So many things she clearly hasn't thought through. It's the gesture that counts.
And are they even gonna go? Their whole family has just died.
You ready?
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah. Oh, he's alive.
How do you survive that? I don't understand.
Unless he's fully paralyzed.
Unless he's like in a coma, she has to pull the plug, and then she's the one who's ultimately killed.
We did say, right? If Eve was the one that killed Nico, that would be her last strand of humanity.
Yes, we did. You did. Yes, you did. I'll give you that credit. I did not say that.
I can't believe he could still be alive.
I mean, I don't either, because like he was juked in the neck, as my friend said. He was. Maybe they'll explain it somehow, but I saw that and I was like, really? Can we not just get rid of him? But there has to be a reason why he's not dead. Like there has to be a reason. She's got to do something.
It has to be Eve that killed him.
I'm putting it out there on the line. He's gonna need to have his thing unplugged, and she's gonna be the one to do it. And then she's gonna go all Dark Eve and go after Dasha, because she's gonna find out it was Dasha and not Villanelle.
And then ultimately, either Eve or Villanelle will die.
There's one more season.
I think not at the end of this season, but ultimately at the end.
But then, if it's the last season, can you see the mic? Do I look like I'm a professional? How does the last season go though? If like they're in the same place, if they're not chasing each other, because they tried it in season 2 when they were kind of working together, but they were still at odds, and it was more silly than anything.
I don't know.
We are jumping, to be fair, but
because I think we need to see how this season ends to know.
I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like it took so long to get to this point. We only have 3 episodes left.
I know, and I feel like all this showrunner's energy went into this episode.
Yeah. And it was the showrunner who wrote it.
Because you could feel all this energy in this episode. So much thought went into it.
It was like a mini film. It was very secluded from what was happening in the general direction of the show.
I guess we're just going to have to wait to see what happens next episode.
What was your favourite thing out of the episode then? What stood out to you?
I loved the scene where, she's sitting with her half-brother.
Yes.
And they're having a moment and then he starts hitting himself.
Oh.
And then she says, "Stop it, you're freaking me out."
Rich coming from her.
But I just thought it was so refreshing that instead of saying, "No, you're fine, it's okay," she was like, "Stop it, you're really weirding me out." I really liked that moment between those two. I just thought it was so nice to see, because Villanelle does have really intimate, nice moments with children.
Yeah.
Except with that boy, without killing them, yeah. But that made me laugh really hard. Because it's not often that Villanelle says, "Oh, that's weird, I don't like it, I'm uncomfortable." And then she verbalized
it.
What was your favourite moment?
Mine was the conversation with her mum, despite how horribly sad it was. I think I liked it more because of just the acting side of it. Obviously, there was a lot to unpack there, but just watching her face journey, I guess, was my favorite thing. Like I couldn't get over how
mom was incredible. That sense
of really good as well. She was really
got that sense of deadness from her behind her eyes.
It was like holding her face, and she was doing something very comforting, like physically, but just her words were just so cutting at the same time.
Yeah,
it was comforting her. She was like stroking her face, but she was like, "I want you to leave. Like you don't belong here.
You're not part of this family." And it was just something about her eyes just conveyed just death. There was no sense of aliveness. There was just deadness in her interaction with her. You felt the disconnect between actions and words.
That was my favorite.
That was quite powerful.
They worked well together, those two.
Yeah.
Elton John. Did you see his...
Oh my god, he tweeted.
Yeah.
I loved it. He tweeted he loved it, the whole episode, and he loved Jodie Comer, and she proper fangirled him. Oh my gosh.
Watching you dance to Elton John, watching you dress like him.
I do love that she wore the wig and sunglasses.
I mean, why was that there? I want to know. Was the boy just that makes me think that the boy dresses up as him, and even though the mum is horrible. Like that moment at the dinner table was really sweet, though.
Yeah, because they all listened to Elton John.
All in on it. They weren't mocking him. I think as well that's what made her so uncomfortable, to see her mum so open like that.
And I loved how it cut out that scene as soon as she started singing.
Oh yeah.
The moment she decided she was going to join in, they just cut to
hard cut. But no, it was a really good episode, because it took a while to get to this consistent place of it being good, because it was weird at the beginning. We've discussed how,
I mean, we were worried this was going to be a filler season.
Yeah, it was like fill a couple episodes and now it's all ramping up.
So hopefully it keeps up the momentum. Plus, I want to know what's going on with Carolyn.
Oh, I want to know that she's okay.
Yeah.
I want to know that she'll find what happened to Kenny. I think that's what I'm invested in, actually, is why they did this to Kenny. What was the end game for that? What did they expect was going to happen after doing that to Kenny?
And I wonder if it's an inside job.
What if it was that girl?
That girl, or even, Carolyn's new boss? Is he a mole?
Or the daughter?
Oh, the daughter. Oh my gosh. Because she's just weird in this whole thing, man. Yeah,
it feels very out of place, isn't it? Her existence. It's like, first she comes out of nowhere. We didn't know she existed, full stop.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's just there waiting for Carolyn to, like, break down in front of her, it seems.
There's something a bit off about her. But I don't know if it's off because the whole family is off and she's a bit normal, so it seems off.
Yeah, that's what we were saying before, isn't it? She said she's very... There doesn't seem to be anything weird about her. It just
doesn't seem very genuine.
Yeah. I think it's because, like, we're so used to what Kenny was like. He was kind of very stoic anyway, and Carolyn is very, very stoic, and because she emotes so much, it's just very obviously different. Like, does she even belong to Carolyn? Is she Carolyn's daughter?
I mean, there's always going to be one child that rebels the opposite way,
What an episode, eh? Well done. Good job.
Thanks for talking to me about it.
I mean, I think there's probably stuff we missed, but, this is the first time we do this.
We'll call this our first draft.
Oh, goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to our waffle.